Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do a quick rapid review session. I got 5 knives here that are either leaving on pass around or are being sold, or up for sale. So I figured I'd just do a quick rundown on each of them, and we can, talk about them. So the first one is the Concept Cosmos. And I did a video on this guy, so not much else to cover here. But this is a really cool one from Paul Munko. He designed this one. I just like his unique designs. It's comfortable in hand, has a forward finger choil, some jimping up here and back here. So if you're back here, you can jump back. If you're up here, you can jump forward. You have a flat ground sheep's foot blade that is quite useful. Being sheep's foot, you know I love that style. We have a bolster lock design here. And Concept is just doing some good work, you know. We have a nice milled clip that works well. We have this white Nebula Chinese fat carbon. It looks pretty good. I do wish they would use the real thing or Gmascus or G10 or something. Not a huge fan of them trying to copy what fat carbon's doing, but yeah. Yeah, cool knife, and they're up for sale. I'll link anything that I show you here down below. Anything that's available, I will link. I believe this one is available. The action on it is silly. I mean, it just swings down. Shoop. No shake needed. Very, very cool. Slim in the pocket. Nice flipper tab. I do wish the jimping was a little more aggressive. They tend to really soften the edges on their stone washes. And it seems like they jimp it before and then they tumble it, so it kind of knocks down those edges. But once you get the hang of the flipper tab, it works pretty well. Detent's nice and early. Yeah, it's a sweet little knife. The Cosmos from Concept. I'm going to pass this guy around, so keep an eye out for some other channels. Let's talk about the Jagger MV3. This is a Brian Brown knife here. I really like this knife. I've got it pretty dialed in here. I don't know. I think it just hasn't spoken to me as much as I wanted it to. I've, kept the hope alive on this one, but I don't know. It's a great knife. I got it dialed in. It's Loctited. It's centered. I've got it perfect. And, yeah, I don't know. We just haven't bonded as well as I thought we would. And for those reasons, I think I'm going to let it go. I don't have a buyer for this one currently, so if you're interested, let me know. This was I got it with a discount because it was a first order from American Edge. I think it was $3.89. I think shipping was free. So I don't know. I'd probably sell it for like $360, something like that, $350 if you want to tug my arm. So if you're out there and you're looking for a Jagger MV3 and maybe they're on secondary for more, probably not right now, but $350 I would do on this one. So you can hit me up. It's got cool inlays, got the pivot collar, it's got the belt satin, hollow ground, stupid thin blade. Very, very nicely done on that. Inlays. There's a few things I don't like on this knife. This extra screw right here to hold the scale down I don't like. And the pivot system is quite frustrating. The tooling is just very bad on this T15. It wants to slip out. I mean, I worked as hard as I could to not mark this up. But it does have a couple of marks around the star there. You can see maybe one little ding right there too. So keep that in mind if you do decide you want this one. It does have a couple marks there. And if I was you, I probably wouldn't touch it once you got it. I would just leave it alone. I got it dialed in as best as it's probably going to get. And it's good, It works well left-handed as long as you don't cross over here and put pressure down on that lock bar, because then you will lock it up. But if you're anywhere off that lock bar, you can flick it real easy. The Gecko camo carbon's really nice, and yeah, it's a solid knife. It's a solid knife with some minor details I don't love, and just overall, great knife. just not going to be long-term for me, so I was going to pass it along to somebody else who might appreciate it more. So let me know. That's the Jagger MV3. Next, we have the Bade Titan. So this one comes in from White Mountain Knives. I have a full video on this as well. I think I have a full video on all of these. And this one, you can get a discount if you use my code LeftyEDC over at White Mountain Knives. So that'll knock off 10% off of the, I believe it's $229 or something like that. So it makes it close to $200. It's M390 and titanium. You got a nice belt satin finish, dual grind. It's really, really cool. It has some of the best ergos on a knife of this size that I've ever felt. I mean, it really just melts into my hand. That forward finger choil, this choil, and then just the rounded, fat nature of it, man. It just really feels good. It's not fat this way, it's fat this way. Just a unique knife. It has good action for a smaller knife like this. Has cool accents. Got that blue titanium collar and backspacer. You have a lanyard pin back here. You're dead centered. You have a crown spine, thumb studs, and a flipper tab. I mean, it's just unique and cool. Bade does some cool stuff. So check it out at whitemountainKnives.com. Use code LeftyEDC at checkout. I was flicking it before. What am I? There we go. And this one's going into the pass around as well. So very, very cool knife there. The next one is the Tuya Skelton Kaledin V2. And this is another one, speaking of just dropping. Look at that. Like the Cosmos. You disengage this puppy and she's dropping down on you. You have a DLC blade over a hand satin, looks like. Very beautiful. Brass anno titanium. Satin hardware. Really good jimping on the flipper tab. A perfect detent for this knife. As I botch it there. The jimping's good. So you just grab it, grip it, and rip it. You can push button it. You can light switch it. You can do it however you would like to do it. Nice clip, works really well. Good ergos, larger size knife, 3.6-inch blade. This is a follow-up to the V1 that came out earlier this year, and I think they did a good job with some changes. I would have liked to have seen one other change, which would be to tuck that tip down a little bit further. It's not bad, but if you dig in, you can get there. But if you're just doing this, you're fine. Also, T8s would have been nice, but the tooling is good on these T6s. We are dead centered, and it's just a good looking knife to me personally. This part right here can be divisive, and for me, it looks really, really cool. So the frag pattern's really nice as well. You can pick this one up at TuyaKnifeUS.com or SkeltonCustoms.com. I'll link those down below. And I think I have a discount code to Tuya where you can get $5 or 5% off with the code LEFTY. But very cool S90V blade here from Jim. And they're somewhere around like $280, something like that. And I think I'll be passing this one around. We'll see. I passed the V1 around earlier this year. And last but not least, we have the Dead Recon Knives Ridgeback. So this one, I believe, is sold to a friend, pending funds or whatever. And I really like this knife. There's a couple of things that keep it from staying in my collection, but I think this is something to support in the community. We need more USA made, small batch knives like this that aren't breaking the bank and that are trying to do things a little differently. At first glance, you're going to say, oh, it's just a button lock, Kev. And sure, it is a button lock, but for one, it has a decent spring in there. So it does feel a little bit better in terms of flicking and flipping than most button locks. And secondly, it is an absolute tank. This thing has no play in any direction. It is ridiculous. I've spine whacked it. I've tried all the things, and it is one of the strongest feeling knives that I've ever had. It is an integral in titanium, It has a MagnaCut blade, 63 to 65 HRC, and it comes in at $440. So they're really doing a good job on that price point considering it's an integral. There's Chinese-made integrals, James brand, Barnes for one, that cost over $600 retail with M390. This is a titanium integral made in the United States of America with MagnaCut, and it's $440. So that says it all right there to me, honestly. It's very comfortable in the hand. You have this little thumb ramp right here. So in this back grip, you get locked in. You have a forward finger choil, so you can either lock in like this or come up here into this poon spoon. Super comfortable. The button is super fun to actuate. It's a good shape, that teardrop shape. The quirks on the knife. So the quirks are the blade to handle ratio here is atrocious. There's really no way around it. It's atrocious. I got this knife before Christmas, like day or two before Christmas. I have DM'd Dead Reckoned Knives on Instagram and asked some questions. I filmed my overview, and now it's a few days later. I'm filming this. I haven't heard back. I'm not holding that against them. It's Christmas time. It's like 2 days after Christmas right now. No, it's the day after Christmas right now. So I'm not expecting them to be answering me right now. But I move fast. So I just don't have the answers right now to give you. Hopefully we'll get those answers and I can somehow update things, or, you know, maybe the answers don't matter. But the questions I had were, why the blade to handle ratio? Is this off, you know, half an inch at least of handle there? And then the way the pivot works is it rotates with the blade. So if I hold this, the blade is stuck there. I can literally use the pivot to rotate the blade. And so what happens is you go to disengage it, and if your finger's on the pivot, the blade can't go anywhere. So as long as you're aware of that and you stay off of it, it literally is a bouncer. So you just have to, you know, be able to take care of that or know how that works. And then the clip. The clip is just, it's very interesting. It stands off the scale, more so than this when you get it. At least for mine, it had no retention. I bent this down just a little bit. It still doesn't touch, it doesn't tap, but now it actually engages when you take it in and out of the pants. It's not the best clip though, still. They have a pretty cool system of the filler tab sort of in the clip. So you just take this T8 out, and then this pops off, and then there's another screw head under there that pops this out, and then you can just flip it over whichever way you want. So it's a reversible clip, which is really nice. The flipper tab's good, works really well. Again, the spring's pretty good. Yeah, I can fail it, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, I can easily get it to rocket out of there. Reverse flick works well. For a lefty, it's a little bit more difficult because you got to stay out the button, but it actually feels better than most button locks left-handed. Even if I'm on the button, it doesn't deter me from being able to flick it decently well. Right-handed, it definitely feels better because you don't have that, you know, issue. Thumb flick is good, slow roll is good, and it has a click when it locks up, because it has this system where there's a little notch right there. You see that? And then it comes around and locks in. So this is not going anywhere. I mean, you have to feel it to understand, but it's literally, it feels like a fixed blade. It's crazy how rock solid it is. And they have that reassuring click. Even left-handed, if I flick it, and you'll notice my finger's on the button. A lot of times with a button lock, when that happens, it ends up having poor engagement, and then I can fail it real easy. But with this, it always ends up clicking into place. Even if you don't hear it because your finger's on it, when you let go, it pops it back into place. and then you won't have any stick or anything because it was engaged so lightly, but it still engages perfectly. Obviously, it's more satisfying to hear that, but yeah, I really like this knife. If they come out with, say, a left-handed version, right, where I don't have to worry about that button kind of being in the way, even though it works, it still deters me a little bit, where it kills the D10 a little bit. Because I'm on the button, it kind of flops it out a little bit, but I mean, it has a good angle on the hole, so I can, so she said, so I can still flick it reliably left-handed, even with being on the button. But I definitely feel a bigger difference right-handed. It feels like a real detent when I flick it, which is nice. So if they came out with a lefty, where the blade went down to the end of the handle and maybe adjusted the clip, even with this clip, I'd be fine. If they came out with a lefty and it extended the blade, I would buy another one instantly. And I'm not upset that I bought this or anything. It's just not ultimately something that is going to stick around for me, so I'm going to let it go. But I can recommend it. And I think that we should be supporting this. But you do have to make a couple of sacrifices. But that's the case with most knives. You know, they all have their quirks. So I don't want it to come off super negative or anything. I'm a weirdo about blade to handle ratio. Some people don't care at all about that. Just like centering. This is perfect, by the way. So love seeing this. And that is the Dead Reckoning Knives Ridgeback, the Kaledin V2, the Bade Titan, the Jagger MV3, and, excuse me, the Concept Cosmos. So let me know what you guys think. I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.